Hey, it's Mark. So let's talk about what protein powder you might choose for you. 90% of the protein powders on the market are going to come from a dairy source or a whey protein source. There's a couple of different ways that you can kind of get whey in a bottle. Some of them are called isolates, which means they're broken down for you. So they're very easy to digest in amino acid forms, which basically come into your body and they go right to work. Those ones you got to watch because sometimes they're, not always, but sometimes they're loaded with artificial sweeteners because they need to taste really, really good. And those are the ones that are like, the flavors are, out of this world. Like, there's all those different flavors, like, peach and mango and pineapple and all those different things. A lot of times you got to think like, well, how do they get that flavor in there? Sometimes they use those couple of different types of ingredients to kind of give that flavor profile. So watch that, number one. Dairy, in my experience, not for everybody. Dairy has, whey is one of those incredible nutrients that can actually help feed the gut if it's used in the right type of context. So don't take it as I don't use whey ever in my practice. I do, but sometimes we use whey, over another different type of protein. But in my experience, dairy, and most people that I see anyway with gut issues, they have this propensity to not do well with digesting whey or dairy. So I usually kind of stay away from the dairy source if I'm choosing a protein powder with you to make sure that we're not going to kind of experience a new digestive symptom because I added something new to your day. So I like pea and rice sources, number one. I like beef sources, number two. So let me describe each of them to you so you can kind of have a better handle on what some of the options are in the clinic here that I would use with you if we're kind of guiding that decision with you for what protein powder you would use. First and foremost, I would use Ultra Meal Cardio 360. So why I like this one, it's pea and rice derived, but what's in there basically is a complete multivitamin, multi-mineral source, as well as some fibers, as well as some good quality fats. So that's a meal replacement. It's not just protein. It has a little bit of everything coming in there to really help kind of supercharge the nutrition coming into your day. So you have to think about that one in the sense of this is my meal replacement. Not terribly high in protein, not terribly high in calories or carbohydrates, but just kind of gives you everything that you would need to kind of make sure that you're hitting all the boxes if you did sit down and have a properly balanced meal. So usually when I use that with people, it's the people that are on the go, they're busy, they sometimes miss lunch, they sometimes miss snacks, or even in that case with some people, you know what, Mark, I don't even feel hungry until 3 o'clock. I try to make it a point to get that nutrition in them to start their day to at least make sure that we're getting some nutrients to avoid that trap of feeling chronically fatigued, constantly going back to the coffee cup. Look for those nutrition sources first. So Ultra Meal Cardio 360 is a fan favorite in my clinic for that meal replacement type category. Second one is called Perfect Protein Pea and Rice. So what's in the pea and rice version of Perfect Protein is just that. It's a highly absorbable version of protein derived from peas and rice, and it also has monk fruit as the sweetener. So basically makes it really, really nice, really palatable, breaks down really, really easily, but that one's going to give you a more powerful punch of protein. It's not going to have those vitamins and minerals with it. This is just a protein source. So again, when you're in your head thinking about using that protein, if you were at that point where you just sit down and have a chicken breast for a snack and nothing with it, then think about the pea and rice protein as a substitute for something like that. It's just packing a punch of protein. But for most people, they wouldn't just sit down and eat a chunk of chicken breast or a piece of fish for a snack. What most people would do is kind of have something with it. So I would encourage you, if you're going to use the pea and rice version of the protein, to make sure we go back to my first video number one, talking about what's in a smoothie. So again, you want to be making sure you're putting those fats, carbohydrates, vegetable sources, and berries kind of in that smoothie to kind of get yourself that full, well-rounded complex of nutrition that your body is searching for. So that's the challenge with that one. You can just use it on its own, mix it up in a shaker cup, throw it in your gym bag or throw it in your purse or your whatever you want to do. That works too. But at the end of the day, I would encourage you to kind of use that one in more of a smoothie type environment. And the last one I want to show you is basically from beef. So this is called pure paleo protein from a company called Designs for Health. And what's in this one basically is it's derived from steak. So basically you take steak, you flash freeze it, you break it down to its small individual components and put it in a smoothie. The trick with this one is loaded with collagen, and collagen is that protein source that's going to kind of help repair skin, nails, gut lining. All those different things are beneficial for the collagen end. Why I like the beef protein so much is that it's believe it or not, it doesn't feel like you've just eaten a steak to break things down. And because it was once an animal protein, the protein profiles are going to look a little bit different than the pea and rice, so a little bit more complete than you're going to see in the pea and rice profile. So the amino acids are going to be a little bit better balanced in the beef version than they would be in the pea and rice. So again, if you're at that point where you want to kind of get a protein source in there that's not plant-based. So say if you're on a plant-based kind of diet and you eat predominantly plant-based proteins, it's not a bad idea to throw in a beef-based protein to get the other amino acid you might be missing from the other part of your diet that you're consuming in a run of a day. So there's balance within everything, folks. I don't fall in a camp of you have to be, in the vegetarian vegan camp, or I don't fall in a camp if you have to be in the carnivore camp. I think the balance point in the middle is where most people do the best. So your protein source should reflect basically what the needs are. So for me, I actually use both sources in my protein shake in the morning. I use the pea and rice. I use a scoop of that, and I use a scoop of the beef as well. So I use both in my smoothie in the morning to kind of make sure I'm not leaving any blind spots in my day, just for the supplementation of the protein source. I use both. So at the end of the day, that's expensive to do, and not all of us can do that, but at the end of the day, I find it works best for our taste profiles, what we like the best, and deriving the most benefits from all of those different sources. So those are my 3 heavy hitters in my clinic that I use. So again, if you're at that point where you might want to try a new protein powder, or, Mark, is my protein powder I'm using now the best one for me? I'm more than happy to answer those questions with you. Just make an appointment, come down to the office, we'll have a chat, see if we can get things figured out for you. And I hope that you find a protein powder that works for you. And again, break those chains on, protein powders aren't always just for bodybuilding. Think of them as the easiest, simplest way to re-nourish your body by using a smoothie. So that's wicked. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk with you soon. Hope you have a fantastic day.